What's up, guys? My name's Donovan, and welcome back to Brewing the Good Life. In today's episode, we're going to look at why your net worth will take off like a rocket once you hit $100,000. So, why is it that compound interest doesn't really seem like it's doing anything until you hit $100,000? Why is it that it takes so long to get to $100,000, but once you get to $100,000, you're only a third away from $1 million? Well, we're going to find out in today's episode. But before we get into that, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Crack open a beer, kick back, and let's talk some personal finance and make some fun of it.
Julian.
Charlie Munger was quoted as saying, "The first 100,000's a bitch, but you got to do it, and you need to do it as fast as possible." I'm paraphrasing there, but the gist is you need to get $100,000 legally as fast as you can so that you can start having compound interest work for you. Now, why is that? Well, let's look at this slide that I put together, and I say I, but my wife put together graciously, and it shows that when you invest $100 into the S&P 500, which is averaged a 10% return, after year one, you're going to have $10, meaning your total investment's $110. But if you do $1,000 after year one, you're going to have $100 in growth, and your total investment will be $1,100. But if you do $100,000, your growth is going to be $10,000, meaning after year one, your total investment is going to be $110,000. Now, you can see as we keep investing more and more, the growth is exponentially more, even though it's still 10%, you're seeing a large figure come up. And the best part is you're not introducing any additional risk into your portfolio from this. So even though you're investing 100 or 100,000, it's the same amount of risk across the board. All right, so now we know that once we hit $100,000, we really start gaining momentum, and that momentum keeps growing and growing and growing, kind of like a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's really small, but as you keep rolling it and rolling it and rolling it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And as it gets more and more bigger, it starts to pick up more and more snow.
And let's talk about how you're going to make me more bigger.
Will you put the pen down?
And then eventually it's out of control and it's just going crazy. And another analogy would be like Clark Griswold when he rubs all that special shine on the bottom of his little pan and he goes sledding down the hill rocket fast. Well, that shows how money starts to go as you get more and more of it.
Let her rip, ain't pen.
If you were to invest $800 a month for 8 years at a 10% return, which is what the S&P 500's averaged over the last 100 years, you'd have about $117,000. So you'd be just over that $100,000 point. Now, how long would it take you to get to $200,000? At 11 years, you're at $191,000. So just 3 years later, you've almost doubled your money. Now, how long does it take you to get to $300,000? Well, let's see. 3 more years later, at 14 years total of investing, you're at $292,000. So now you've tripled your money in just 14 years, where initially it took you 8 years to get to that $100,000. Now, what would it take to get to $1 million? Well, I'm doing some math here. Sorry, guys. But in 25 years, you would be at $1 million. So it just goes to show that the initial took you 8 years. But 25 years, you're at $1 million. And that's saying you don't have a 401k match. That's saying you're not getting any pay raises over that 25 years. That you're just kind of there. And you're just doing the same thing over and over and over. To me, that's crazy. That it just takes 25 years of solid investing, starting with nothing. It's a beautiful thing to see, and it's amazing to see the power of compound interest. And it's no wonder that Einstein said it was the 8th wonder of the world. Now, we know that with compound interest, the first 100,000, 80 to 90% of that's going to be your investment. Only 10 to 20% is going to be actually growth that you're going to see. But as it continues to grow, more and more of it's going to be growth. And when you hit that 1 million, $240,000 in total investments, but the growth off of that money is $828,000. It's just crazy to see how the growth keeps compounding over and over and over and over again in order to get you to that millionaire status. So remember, every dollar counts. It may not seem like a lot, but when you start stacking it up little by little by little, it does. In fact, if you look at a 20-year-old who starts investing, every dollar that they invest from 20, if they start at 20 years of age and they don't pull out to their 65 years of age, that year that they start investing, every dollar turns into $88. It's just crazy to me. So start investing now. If you're in your 20s, you're in the best decade of your life to start investing because you've got time on your side. You're a billionaire when it comes to time. If you're in your 30s like me, you're in the second best decade of your investing career and you need to start immediately. If you're in your 40s, you've passed the two best decades of your life. You're going to have to invest a large chunk of your salary, and you're going to have to make sure that you stay on top of it. You're going to have to. It's just how it works. And the longer you wait, the more work you're going to have to do and the harder it's going to be. Nobody wants to die at their desk. Nobody's going to say, oh man, if I can just get this one last document done, if I can get through this one last meeting. Nobody wants to do that. People want to stop working at some point. And maybe it's not stop working. Maybe it's a choice to stop working. But for me, I know when I'm in my 60s, I want to spend time with my grandkids. I want to spend time with my family. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not enjoying life. I go on vacations. I race my Miata. I have a motorcycle. I have things that I enjoy doing and I have hobbies. But it means that I do things within reason. When I bought my motorcycle, I paid cash up front. I saved up for it. I didn't go and finance it. When I go race my Miata, I pay cash for that. When it needs parts, I pay cash for that. I budget and I make sure that I'm on the right path, which leads me to my next point. Strategies for being able to make this happen. No matter if you're in your 20s and you're fresh out of school, if you're married, or if you've got kids, anyone can do this. And it's by making small decisions today. So how do we do that?
Keep it simple, stupid. Great advice. Hurts my feelings every time.
One, you need to start off with getting a budget. I recommend a zero-based budget. All that means is you account for every dollar that comes in and goes out, and at the end of the month, it's zero. And that doesn't mean you have to spend everything, but that means that whatever you're putting in your savings, that comes out of your budget. Whatever you're putting into retirement, that comes out of your budget. Whatever you're putting into your four walls, which, as we've talked about, is clothing, transportation, food, and housing, all of that stuff needs to be accounted for. And you also need to be able to spend less. If you're able to cut your expenses down, you can put more margin in your budget. And the opposite of that, learn new skills, go back to school, get further education, find side gigs, make more income. If you're able to have a higher income, you can also have more margin. And if you're able to do both of those things, you can be able to make that margin exponentially bigger. And the last point I want to make is taxes. Nobody likes paying taxes. I try to avoid taxes at all costs. But you can't evade them, but you can avoid them. And what I mean by that is avoiding taxes is legal. Evading taxes puts you in jail.
You, my friend, are being audited. No. Call the 800 number.
So how do you avoid taxes? Use 401ks, Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, HSAs, and also high yield savings accounts for your emergency fund. These types of programs are there to reward people. And that's how the government says, hey, you're doing the right thing. This is what we want you to do. So do that, and they don't penalize you for it. If you don't do it, then you're going to pay more in taxes because you're not being tax efficient and you're not avoiding your taxes in the proper way. So that's all I have for today. I can't wait to see you guys next time. Have a beer on me, and let's enjoy the evening. Let's enjoy what life has to offer and understand that life's a balance. And although we talk a lot here about money, family is also important. And that's why we do this, for our families. So keep trucking away. Get that $100,000 if you're still working on it. If you've already passed that $100,000, hopefully this gives you the motivation to keep trucking along so that you can hit whatever your number is, whether that's $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million, $15 million. I don't care what it is. I just want you to dream big so you and your family can have the life you deserve. So have a great one, guys. See you next time. Bye.